Algebra Half Lesson 6, reading and writing decimal numbers, adding and subtracting decimal numbers, and rounding those decimal numbers. So the common thread through everything today is decimals. And a decimal is just another way to show a part of a whole. The other way we've shown part of a whole is using fractions, which uses this fraction bar. So today we're using same concept, different way to show it. Now we use a decimal point. This means it's less than 1, part of a 1. To begin with, decimal place values is something you're going to want to know right off the bat. I've got a place value chart down here. I'll print one out for you, and it's on page 23. We've already learned the left of the decimal. We read a decimal point as an and. Sorry, my clicker is not really letting me do circles, but this is an and then these are what are new today, the blue on this chart, where we're using a lot of THs. Instead of tens, we use tenths. Instead of hundreds, we use hundredths, and it goes on mine all the way to millionths, same as yours. And yours in the book even shows 1 over 1 million is really what that's worth. So the thousands place is worth 1,000 over 1. But over here, the thousandths place is worth 1 over 1,000, and if you divide that out on your calculator, it's going to come out to a decimal point. Very small amount. This is all less than 1. Notice one thing that can trip people up. There's the decimal point, and then immediately to the left, what do we call this place value? Not the oneths, not the units. It's tenths. We go straight to tenths. So don't let that get you off. When we read a decimal number, we begin on the left end. Look at my example here. We begin over here and we work our way to the right. 4,000, right? This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth to the left. So according to your place value chart, 4,165. Don't put the and in there, and now we're finding out why. Because if you put an and there, you've got two ands, and you'll get confused if you're listening. 4,165, and according to number 3 on page 23, it says to read the digits to the right of the decimal place as if they formed a whole number. Read it like it was this. Start it out just like it's worth this, 412. I can say that. But then it's how you finish it off. 412 what? Don't just say 4,165 and 412. Instead, it's 412 what? How do we find that out? We look at the place value. This is 4 to the right of the decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 412 10,000ths. So our final answer is 4,165 and 412 10,000ths. Okay, I'm not going to write that out here. It's a lot of writing, but that concept is gone over with a different number. Example 6.1, turn to page 24. Okay, so you read what's to the right of the decimal point like it is a whole number to the left. It's just how you label it. You even use commas when you write these out. So when I write out 412, if I had to do more, I would have to comma this out and do more. You don't write commas after a decimal point in the number, but you use commas to the right in words. So that's talked about on top of page 24. If I'm given the words, can I turn it into a decimal? I think that's even easier. 15. What does and tell me? And is a decimal. And 31. Now this is where we decide what place values. Hundredths. Where are the hundredths? Second to the right, which means 1, 2 is as far as I go. 31 hundredths, so it's just 15.31. What if I need to subtract decimal points? 6.23 minus 0.044. Let's set it up vertically because that's the way we do things. Decimal points have to line up. How do I write this number? Just as it was given, 4, 4, which means there's going to be a 0 here. So make sure you line up decimals. and then fill any empty spots with zeros. So to write it out with more room, 6.23 minus 0.044, and then what do I still need? Let's drop a 0 right here, and then we can solve. It's going to take some borrowing, but we can do it. Don't forget to drop the point. Let me know if you have questions on that concept. Number line on page 25 shows spots broken all the way down as decimals. So rounding a decimal can be interesting, knowing what it's closest to. Which is the 10,000ths place? According to our chart, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th place. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle it, and then what do I do with rounding? Even with decimal, after the decimal point, I do the next number to the right. Is 7 more or less than, is it the same as 5 or more? Yes, which tells me to go up. So everything to the left stays the same, like we've always learned. Then the 5 goes up, and the rest gets zeroed out. You can drop the zeros after a decimal point. They do not really signify any value. And you could just show it as 212 and 166 10,000ths. Try practice problem A, C, and G for me, please. Good luck.